Alrighty, so what we're going to do is, hang up. We are going to work on the enemy, because if you look, we've now got the player working okay. I mean, it looks acceptable and it's fine. But what I want to do is make the enemy not so crummy. So I'm going to double click on the background because it's attached to the background. Then we have the enemy here, so I'll double click on the enemy. And what we have are basically 3 layers and 3 symbols, or well, 3 elements, I should say. So we have this kill enemy symbol, right? So that's the that's if I hit that, if that makes contact with the player, it kills the whole object. Unlock this one, and I also have this symbol, which is kill player, and that will kill the player. It'll do the opposite, right? So if this bumps into the player, then they die. All right. And then lastly, we have the actual graphic. Now, when we actually go to play the game, I'm going to turn both of these off. I'm going to open up these symbols, and we're just going to make them disappear. They'll still be there, but I'm going to take the alphas and basically make them completely transparent, and that'll make that way you don't see them. They'll just work as basically collision objects that we can interact with. Okay, so you can ignore those 2 boxes, the kill enemy and kill player, right at the moment. We're going to come back because I got to clean up a lot of the collisions and things. So that's gonna go away. What I'm more interested in is the graphic. Now, if I actually click on the graphic, you're gonna see it's literally just, it's not even a symbol. It's just a placeholder. Like, we didn't do anything with this yet. So what I want to do, my vision for the enemy is basically this. I want the enemy in general to patrol. Okay, so when I say patrolling enemies just mean that they go from one spot to another and they go back and forth. Okay. So I often seen players in video games will say that I'm not camping, I'm patrolling, because they'll say, I'm didn't just sit here, I'm going from one spot to another spot, and I'm just going back between, it's camping. You're a cheater, and everybody hates you for it. So anyway, but it's an enemy movement. It's one of the states that they'll say that enemies are in. And so generally the idea is, I want to have, you see it really commonly with platformer games that you'll have like, especially like Mario and those sort of things, right? You'll have just an enemy that goes back and forth. So I just want to animate whatever this is going to be going back and forth like this, okay? And I also just want to have an animation on the symbol that's just, I'm going to do a tire, so it looks like just because he's a cone, like a traffic cone, and I don't feel like drawing a whole car. So normally I would do a whole car, but I'm just lazy today, so it's going to be a tire. But anyway, so we're going to do a tire. And I just want the tire, like the old school animations where you see the tires and they're bouncing as they drive, which doesn't make any sense. I want to do that. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to convert this to a symbol that's going to have animation in it. And then inside of that, we'll put a graphic in it so that we can animate the bouncing. So it's going to be kind of a symbol and a symbol and a symbol. You'll see. So anyway, what I want to do is if you click off and then click on it, make sure you unlock it. It was locked by default. I'm going to go ahead and have it selected. I'm going to hit F8, or you can go modify, convert to symbol, and we're just going to call it enemy anim, like animation, _MC. That's good. Now you're going to open that up again, and in here I'm going to do the bounce animation. Out here I'm going to do the patrolling animation of it going back and forth. But inside of this symbol, I need to do the bouncing, but you can see that it's a graphic right now still, like it's not a symbol, so I can't actually animate that locomotion, so I got to make this a symbol as well. So I'm going to double click on it again, and we're going to hit F8 again, and this time I'm just going to call it enemy graphic, because this will just be the graphic. There's not going to be any animation inside of the symbol that we're making right now. Okay, so I'll double click on that, and now we have the actual picture. So this is what's going to end up being, I'm just going to control plus a couple times. This is going to be my graphic, but I don't like it. Let's get rid of it. Right, that looks like junk. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and use the oval tool, and I'm going to make my stroke black, and we'll use our fill, and we'll do a dark gray. And so you see this little target? That's actually the center of the symbol. So I'm going to use that as my guide to how I draw it. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of put it in the middle here. Now you guys know if you hold Shift, it does it proportionate, right? Like Photoshop used to be. If you hold Alt, it actually draws from the center, and that works in Photoshop and other Adobe products as well, so that's useful. So I'm just going to hold Alt and Shift to make it proportional, and we'll go like that. That looks great. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the line here, or the stroke. I'm going to hold Alt and hold Shift and click and drag. So Alt will duplicate as you drag something, and Shift will just keep it constrained so it doesn't move on me. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the inside line here and delete it. Okay. I'm going to take this outside one here, and what we'll do is go to the fill color here. I'm going to select my fill, or the stroke. I'm going to go to this, and let's just do an even darker gray. That's basically black, and we'll color it in there. Okay, so that looks like that. Now what I'm going to do is, again, go to my circle tool here, and we'll just do a lighter gray. And I'm going to hold Alt and Shift and draw the hub of my tire. It's pretty great. Hubba hubba. Dad jokes. Okay, then we'll do a lighter gray even still. I'm just going to go ahead and draw a straight line here. Just going to hold Shift as I draw it. I'm going to hit V for the select tool. Just going to kind of bend this out a little. Yeah. I'm going to select it, and I'm just going to put in here, just so that it has like those little lines that you typically see. I'm going to hit Q, and let's just make it a little bit more like, diagonal. So I'm going to have that selected, and I'm going to hit V now, and I'm going to hold Alt and put it like, we'll say like that. I'm going to select both of them now. I'm going to hold Alt and click and drag it down here. I'm going to hit Q, click and rotate this around to go the other direction. I'm just going to hold Shift and arrow keys. Okay. And it's not a great tire, but it's my tire. And that's all that really matters. This should probably be a little more straight, but we're going to call that good. So that'll be my graphic. You could do whatever you want for your enemy. Like, go to town. I don't care if it looks like this. Do something different. Have fun. I'm just doing this for mine. So that's my graphic. I don't need to do anything beyond that. We're going to call that good. I'm going to click back on the enemy anim. And for this animation, this is just going to be the bouncing animation. So just to make it look like it's moving. Although maybe I should just, well, I can't really spin it, because if I spin it, then this would be off center. So we're going to just do a bounce, and we'll just go with that. Okay, so I'm going to say that that's going to take, get out of the way. Nope. There we go. I'm going to say it's going to take 1 second. So I'm going to go to here. I'm going to hit, am I still recording? Good. Okay, F5. I recorded this earlier, and it just crashed on me. So now I'm doing it a second time. All right. So I got it there. So I just hit F5, or you can right-click and insert frame. Over top of the span here, I'm just going to go ahead and right-click and create motion tween. I'm going to go to the end, and because it's going to loop, so I'm just going to go ahead and hit F6. And what we'll do is halfway between, so that's to 24. So where's 12? That does not look halfway. I'm going to go ahead and hit Q. I'm going to move my pivot down to the bottom. And I'm just going to pull this up and squish this in. And that way it'll do this. See what it looks great, right? That's a great animation. Okay, so that's just going to play. But now what I'm going to do is actually have the patrolling animation here. So if I were to play the game now, you're just going to see this tire bouncing. But I actually want it to move back and forth. So now I backed up another level, and I'm on the actual enemy. And I'm going to say that this is going to take 2 seconds. So I'm going to go over here to 2 seconds. And I have to extend all of these. So I'm going to click and drag down. Is that 2 seconds? I think it's 2 seconds. And then I'm going to hit F5, where you go right click, insert frame. Okay, that's fine. Now, I do not, let's back this up a little bit so I can see it. That's not good. Okay, I do not need to animate these, because what I'm going to do instead with these is this. I'm going to parent them to this graphic. So that when the graphics, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to move it, like here and here. And I'm just going to parent these so they just ride along, as opposed to having to animate these with it, because that's just annoying. Okay, so we'll animate this first, and then I'll show you the other one. So I'm just going to right-click inside of here, and we will do, I'm actually going to create a classic tween. It's going to be a little bit different than we normally do. I'm going to go to the last frame, and I'm just going to hit F6, because I need the last frame to be the same as the first frame. Okay. And right at 1 second, am I at 1 second? Or sorry, 1 second. Now I got to choose where to, oops, let's back this up. I can go to the left or right. Let's just go to the right, and I'm going to hold shift so it's straight. And we'll say about that much. Now the unfortunate thing is that this is going to basically, all of it, normally when I make these, I like to like write a bunch of code so that it like when it finds the end of a pathway, it'll actually automatically flip and then go the other direction. But I'm trying to kind of limit the amount of coding we're doing, so we're just going to animate it. So all of our enemies are always going to move the same amount, which is unfortunate, but it's less coding, and I'm assuming you probably prefer that. We actually don't have to write any more code at this point. So now, if you look at the animation, it goes like this, and then it goes back. So it goes back and forth, right? Now, the only thing is, and this totally is fine, doesn't really bother me, but it might bother you, is that if you look, you'll notice that it's always facing the same direction. So mine's a tire, so there isn't really a direction on it, but it just so that if you did have an enemy that did, what we're going to need to do is basically, you can click on this, that's going to go there. I'm going to take this one here, I'm just going to click and drag it to the left one, okay? Then, on this one, I'm going to hit F6, hopefully. It will do it. Alright, let's try that again. Oh, I hit F5, that's why. Alright, let's try that again. F6. And on this one, I'm going to hit Q. And I'm just literally going to flip it the opposite, which I don't know. Is that right? Yeah, that's okay. Now, what's going to happen is you're going to see it's going to go, which isn't really probably what you want. So, what I'm going to do is, actually, I'm going to right-click on this. I'm going to copy this frame, the one that we just flipped. I'm going to go to the one just before the last one, right here. And I'm going to right-click and paste frame. So, which isn't good, because obviously it doesn't animate. And all I'm going to do is, I'm going to look to see where that one is. And why don't we put on onion skinning? I'll turn on onion skinning. And now, when I'm on this frame, I can see where this has got to go. So I'm going to put this roughly right before it, like that. And I'm going to turn onion skinning back off. So now, it's animated going that direction till here, and then it's going to flip and go the other direction. So if I hit enter, you can kind of see it's going to go like this. It's going to flip and go the other direction. Which actually, honestly, it actually doesn't make sense because there's the perspective of the tire. But if you had an enemy that does flip, now you know how to fix it. Okay, so you're just going to animate that. That's the idea. All right. Woohoo! That's good. Let's go ahead and get rid of these boxes too while we're here. I need. Oh well. So for one, you can see it's animated now, but see the boxes are staying still, so they're not actually moving it with it. So what I'm going to do is let's unlock these. I don't know if I need to or not. I'm going to click on this, which is the parenting hierarchy thing, and I'm going to click and drag this one over top of the graphic, because the graphic is the thing that's animated, and I'm going to do the same thing with the purple one. All right, yours might be different colors, but now those will actually move with them, which is kind of what we want, so that's great. But I do want to not see them. So all we're going to do is I'm just going to click on this one. I'll double click on it so I'm inside of its symbol. And I'm just going to Control++. And we don't really need its stroke. So I'm going to double click on the stroke, just delete that. I'm going to select the color. And right here is the alpha. Just make that 0. After you hit 0, just click off. You're going to see it's going to be gone. If you click on it, it's there. And it is orange. But because it's alpha 0, you don't see it. And that's the trick. So we're going to go back to enemy. We're going to go to the kill player one, this guy. Double click on that guy too. Let's just go ahead and get rid of the stroke. I'm going to select this, and I'm going to do the same thing. Type in 0, and click off, and then you'll see, voila, it's gone. Now let's go ahead and test this just to make sure that it's all hunky-dory and working. Although he's going to be going off to the right, but it's fine. Alright, so there he is. You can see I feel like his up and down should have been faster. Whatever. Okay. Now I can't see him. Watch. See, he's killing me. I don't know if you can tell, but yeah, he killed me. I'll go over here. It'll be more obvious. See, he just killed me. But I can also kill him like that. Okay? So the boxes are still there, but they're just invisible. And that way they have all the functions that I wanted them to have, but, you know. Okay. Let's go ahead and we'll just quickly do the score as well, just to fix that real quick. So I'm going to back up to here to the background. And now we have these little points here, right? And these points are kind of lame. And by kind of lame, I mean like really lame. So they're just these little dots. This is going to be pretty easy. So I'm going to double click to open it up. and you'll see we're inside the point symbol. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a loop, and we're just going to animate it scaling back and forth, and it's going to make it look like it's spinning like a gold ring. Basically, I'm just going for a Sonic thing, right? Real simple, not a big deal sort of thing. Okay, so we have this point. What I'm going to do is on this guy, I got to convert this actually to a symbol in order for this to work. So we're going to hit F8 again. Make sure you got the whole thing. F8. I hit delete. I don't know why I hit delete. F8. There we go. And we'll just call this what was it? Oh, ring anim underscore MC. And I will have this take. Let me take 1 second. Why not? So I'm going to go to there, hit F5. Okay. I'm going to right click in here. Oh, actually, that's all. We can leave that, but I actually got to change this actual graphic. So I'm going to open up the ring anim, and I want to change this color to yellow because, you know, that's what I'm going for here. And let's make it a little bit bigger. I'm just going to hold shift. And then let's take its stroke color, and instead of doing that color, let's do like a deep kind of. Is that better? Probably go for like an orange color. Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna take the stroke now, and I am going to Control C, Control Shift V. I still have Q selected. I'm gonna hold Shift and just scale this in to get the inside. You want to do Control Shift V because that's paste in place. Control V will paste it in outer space. Okay, so we'll just hit this and delete, and that's an ugly ring. But imagine I did a good job. Can you picture it in your head? Maybe? Probably not. Okay, so that's what I'm going to have for my graphic. Probably should call it the graphic instead. So now I've got that graphic right here. Just backed up to the point. I'm going to right click over top of this, then we're going to click to make a motion tween. And again, I have to go to the last one and hit F6 to make sure it sits there. And then we're going to go halfway between. And all we're going to do is take this guy, hit Q, and we're literally going to scale it so that it becomes basically flat. So can I type in 0? Let's see. 0. Oh, it looks like it. Hang on a second. Stupid thing. Come on. Here we go. I think it's locked. That's why it did the other one. So I'm going to unlock it. Type in 0. There we go. Lock that back up. Basically proportionally scaled it this way too, and I didn't mean to do that. Okay, so now when you hit enter, it gives the illusion that it's spinning, but really it's just going like this. It's just cheap. But it'll look a little bit nicer when we go to play the game. So I'll back up to scene, Control minus minus minus. Probably should have done something that made more sense with our car theme, I guess. But whatever. Or traffic cone theme. But now you're going to see our points are going to look a little bit nicer, right? They kind of look like spinning things, you know? It's an illusion, right? I don't want to die tires. Okay. And the next one, what I'm going to do is, I think we'll fix the I should have got rid of these little dots in the last one. We'll fix those real quick. You already know how we're going to do it, but we'll fix these, and then we will do the background, and that will be a little bit easier and maybe even a little bit more fun. And actually, that will take a little bit of code, but a very small amount. But we'll do that in the